Titanfall 3 was a rumored, upcoming first-person shooter video game that was going to be developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA. Throughout the past few years, rumors have circulated that Respawn is working on a new first-person shooter, and early speculation pointed to that game being Titanfall 3. Now it looks like we have a definitive answer when it comes to Titanfall 3 and the future of the series. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into what happened to Titanfall 3. Let me start by saying I've already made one video covering all the rumors and news around Titanfall 3 back in 2020, which was a long time ago, but still is valid and covering a lot of the context around the situation. Which includes insiders saying that Titanfall 3 was in development, Respawn denying the rumors, and EA saying they aren't opposed to returning to the series in the future. Along with Respawn's original work on Titanfall 3 back in 2017 and so much more. I highly recommend checking out that video and then returning to this one. Even though that video was posted 15 months ago, not much has happened since then, but fans were still thinking that Respawn would bring back Titanfall. Moving on, in late 2021, Respawn gave quite a few different comments about Titanfall 3, the first being in September, when the community coordinator Jason Garza at Respawn was asked about Titanfall, which he responded saying, quote, "It's an old game with a lot of mechs. Don't get your hopes up, man. I've said this before, we don't have anything in the works. There's nothing there. We've got too many other games in the works right now." Which isn't a great comment, and it definitely sounds like the team is getting tired of answering the same questions over and over again. And this plants the seeds that the job listings around a new first-person shooter at Respawn was in development, but was not the Titanfall sequel everyone wanted it to be. Respawn continued on 2 days later and released a statement on their social media which said, quote, "Contrary to what some folks are reporting, Titanfall is the very core of our DNA, and who knows what the future holds." And so many of these posts don't make any sense, especially knowing what we know now. The studio just should have said they are moving on from Titanfall and they have no plans in the immediate future. I don't get the constant will they or won't they coming from the studio. And the final nail in the coffin came in December of 2021 when Respawn released a statement about discontinuing the sales of the original Titanfall game. They say the team still considers the game as a beacon of innovation that they strive for in all of their games. They say the universe will continue on in Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends. And I think we all know when they talk about continuing the universe, they mean more in Apex Legends than continuing the Titanfall line. And finally, the last collection of stories will cover what happened to this title, because Respawn did have job listings and insiders did hear an FPS was in development. So what is Respawn working on and why can't they talk about it? Well, news started to leak in January of 2022 when gaming publications like VGC started to hear Respawn was working on a new single-player game that is a first-person shooter that is built around mobility and style, with a release by 2025. They also make a point to say this game is not a Titanfall sequel. Then the rumors were backed up in late January when EA and Lucasfilm Games announced their new partnership to develop even more titles in the Star Wars universe following the success of Fallen Order. One of these games is the first-person shooter that Respawn has been working on. So this entire time it sounds like there has been a first-person shooter in development with a focus on mobility, but insiders potentially got their wires crossed with this information and rightfully thought this title would be a new Titanfall game and not a Star Wars game, but they were wrong. So no, Titanfall 3 is not in development and the franchise is not looking to be in a strong place at the moment. And Respawn already looks committed to developing Star Wars titles for half of the next decade, so I would not expect any Titanfall news for a long time. Titanfall really was such a unique franchise, and it's disappointing it won't be moving forward, at least for the time being. Either way, that's where I'm going to end this video, and that is what happened to Titanfall 3. Make sure to like and share this video, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.